Let's see if anybody come out. Go for that last minute roll call. Late night, late night, late night. See if anybody back. I'll see if anybody come back. Had to go get some grub, fill up the tank, check on a couple things. Had a little some music too, by the way. Now, so in case you're wondering, sometimes I got to pull in some music. I get inspired. Got to figure out who I'm gonna listen to. And I thought I would throw on Jeffrey Osborne. Yeah. That man was one of my favorites back in the day. Listen to his music back in the day. Um, Back to the LT days, actually. You know, I don't know how far back you go with him, but he worked with the late great Duke. Of course, LTD had jams too. LTD, but Jeffrey Osborne was one of my favorite vocalists. I used to listen to his music with James Ingram. Like I had a lot of certain. What's up? I told y'all coming back. Back. Jeffrey Osborne was one of my favorites, and so I had listened to some. I put a little music on, and got a lot of memories of him. There's so many artists that didn't necessarily blow up, or they didn't get their due, but you know, and he's still going strong. He's still touring. That man stays on the grind. LTD was one of those bands I listened to. So yeah, I listen to them too. I mean, yeah. Crazy story about that. So Angela Winbush, she could sing. Her and Renee were together. And then she got with Mr. Biggs around her eyes and that whole thing. And that was crazy. Renee was a kind of mean to her. I got a funny story. I remember when they came out back in the early 80s. If you ever see their old album covers, I kid you not, they had a keyboard back then like a washing and drying machine. That's how big keyboards used to be. You probably remember when you had your first computer, how big that thing was, or like an old cell phone was like a brick. Well, that's how them keyboards were. I mean, it was huge. I mean, it almost took over the album cover. But they had cuts though. And Renee Moore as a keyboardist got to work with Michael Jackson. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Angela Winbush, distinctive vocalist, you know. So, yep, yep. Oh man, well, you talk about how technology, people who come up in the last 20 years ain't gonna know nothing less than something in their hand. They can't imagine something that looks like a walking microwave, like an ice cream truck. That's what it was like. It was like an ice cream truck. So huge, huge. But yeah, um, I like them. They were one of my favorite duos. I like, Albie was a jam. There's some cuts. hmm He just got a little rough with her though, that's all. Yeah. But anyway, and then she got with Ronald Isley, and then she lost her mind with Mr. Biggs. That's a whole nother, topic and subject. But anyway, I liked them when they got together though. Smooth Sailing was my cut. And then um trying to think. They had cuts though. They had cuts though. hmm They had cuts. So yeah, a lot of memories of Renee and Angela. A lot. But yeah. Anyway, just some musical reflections and stuff. So anyway, I just think, what did I just get through seeing? Somebody was talking. Oh yeah, I saw Cam Newton had Warren Sapp on, and he was talking about game managers, and Cam broke it down to him because I don't think Sapp really listened to him. But then he broke it down because he said, when I think about Tampa Bay, he said, I think about you and Brooks and Barbara. I didn't think about Brad Johnson. So he broke it down about what he meant by game manager. And he said there's only 5 game changers in NFL today. He said Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, when Joe Burrow's healthy. So I did get something just come up on X that said he had hospice. And he had been looking too good. He hadn't been looking too good. I'm going to send thoughts and prayers. Um, you know, that's what it said. That's what it said. And he had been kind of back and forth. That's what it said. So, yeah, it's pretty serious. Some people are going to have mixed emotions about him. It depends on which side of the fence you come on. He will always be in my top 2 to 3 greatest running backs ever. And I will still say he didn't do it because I did a study on the timeline. I did videos. And the only way they could have done it is if he had help, but it didn't add up with the timing. So, you know, um, this has to be a story for tomorrow. Some people are going to look at it and think 30 years later. I'm just going to say that was one of the most, I'll never forget 1994. That summer of June, I was working. I got off that Friday. I kid you not. I'm sitting in the living room and this white van is like coming to me. And I felt like I was an alien form. I felt like I was in outer space. That was so surreal. Yeah, them folks are happy, and there's some within the chocolate community happy too. Some folks just never cared for him, or they thought he did it, or what have you. But yeah, the folks are definitely gonna be happy because I remember very well, and they felt like he used them because he was crossed over. I mean, mm, it's a touchy subject. He To begin to tell you how big he was, or how was that a black running back was the most important player in the '70s with Staubach, Joe Namath, Bradshaw. Let that sink in. Kenny Stabler, let that sink in. With the Cowboys, Dolphins, winning rings, and the Steelers. And he was that dude. He was that dude. He had that it. In some ways, in white world, he's bigger than Michael Jackson. In some ways, because not only did he go by just initials and a nickname, but they embraced him. Yeah, those Hertz commercials were crazy because he had crazy crossover. If I told you that he has many movies as Elvis Presley, would you believe me? He was that big. He was that big. You know, of a Rolling Stone when it mattered for something, hosting Saturday Night Live. Did a lot, did everything you could imagine. You know, I still remember when he was in Roots because he chased LeVar Burton, he chased Kunta Kinte, and that was something. He did, but he got corny. Should have been straight after that Super Bowl. And it didn't really last as long. I was big on Marcus too, but I think Marcus, eh, he he had a little bit. He had some juice. He was influenced by him too, but it didn't quite. It didn't last long. And then, of course, when Bo Jackson came, he became second fiddle, and then he went to Kansas City, and he got whiteballed for some strange reason by Al Davis. But he was bad though. He was one of my favorite running backs ever. But I love Dorsett though. Had some of the prettiest strides I ever seen for a running back. He did have crossover as a cowboy, but He didn't get the pull. He didn't get the pull. And plus he was playing behind Staubach and Landry. And he didn't get his pull. That's why he ended up in Denver at the end. It's sad. And he had Ron Springs blocking him. And he didn't have a line like Emmett did. Well, if he had a line like Emmett had, he probably had about 25,000 yards. I kid you not. Dorsett was something else. Loved to watch him run. Still remember that 99 yard against Minnesota. That cat had cool strides, smooth, hit that hole, stronger than he gets credit for. Yeah, he got downplayed. He was. Well, he had all the women, had to mess with them Asian chicks. That stuff was somewhere down with Tony too, but that's another story, another video. Oh yeah, I lived in Houston when Tyler Rose was big. My mama loved him. I mean, he that that game against Miami, he hit them sideline. I mean, that guy, he made a power back move. I mean, he was strong. To be around when Earl Campbell and Dorsett were going neck and neck in Texas was incredible. Incredible. But he was something else though. The Tyler Rose, he was power back. That hit on Isaiah Robinson for the Rams. That collision was no joke. And you weren't trying to hit him head on, because Earl would knock your neck off. Bad man. Yeah, ED was OJ influence too. Speed, Jerry Curl juice, had that Jermaine Jackson drip, leave you behind. Was you all you gonna get is activator in your hands. You ain't stopping him. The only person I told you was Daryl Green. I'll never forget that. Now the Bears got him in '85 playoffs because it was too cold. He couldn't bust that line. But when he was going, well, Curtis Martin was one of them. Thurman Thomas, of course. Barry Sanders, of course. I give Emmitt Smith his due. I like Dorsey Levin, all right. Um, I think who else I like. Think about who was on Kansas City back then. Larry Johnson came a little bit later. Well, Larry Johnson was nice. I like Eddie George at the end. Um, the usual suspects. I liked Eddie. Eddie was a tough runner. I know you're gonna say Eddie George because you're Ohio State. Think I didn't get it, but no, I liked him though. He was tough. There was quite a few. Like I said, I like the usual suspects. But of course, it's gonna start with Thurman, of course. Thurman and Barry for me, off the top. Okoye was a bad boy. That one, Larry Johnson came later though, because him and Jay Z were roommates. So people can't. He was good too, but I think Okoye was a Nigerian nightmare. Yeah, I liked. Mm-hmm. There'll be some guys I got to kind of go back on. Jed Bettis was bad, bad with the Rams. You can make a case for Ricky Waters too. Hmm. Yeah. Um, there was some cats. Jim Machine Gun Kelly, of course. Um, Brady, of course. Peyton. Um, McNair, Michael Vick. Um, Donovan was cool. I did like Brett Favre back then. Moon, but Moon, yeah, the carryover from the 80s. I respected Brunel, but I wasn't big on him. I thought that Tony Baselli was the reason for a lot of their success. And I like Fred Taylor a lot. Brunel was alright. He stunk in Washington, but he was alright. Um, who else did I like? Uh, Um, Randall was legit in Minnesota. Uh, see, the all punt pass punt thing, and that's the only problem I had with Cordell making him slash. They didn't let that man play quarterback. Had they just let him be quarterback and left him alone, but they wanted him to be special team. He did him like Tebow, and I liked his versatility, but he got messed up. He'd be scary today, though. Be scary today. Um, I want to say no. I can't say Stan Humphries. I can't say Neil Don. Can't say them turkeys. Who else I want to pick on that I like? Um, I mean, I guess I respect Aikman to an extent. I respect him. Wasn't big on him. Yeah, Kurt Warner was great. He came out of nowhere and he fit. Had the touch. He had the touch. Dave Craig, he was kind of seesawy. Some things I liked about him, some things I didn't. I have to think. This, because the funny thing is this game manager, he was I didn't really feel him. See, the funny thing is this all the cats that won the Super Bowl, let's see, so if we go by Hostetler, yeah, Mark Ripken, yeah, Eggman, tear up, Steve Young, tear up, Brett Favre, tear up. And then, Elway won, but a lot of it was, it was peaks and valleys, then the quarterback. So it all depends. A lot of these guys were, it was decent, but I wasn't like, I wasn't big on Dilfer. Good example of game manager, you know, but those guys were put in positions. So, mm, but let me see, who else could I pick on? Mhm. Yeah, because he spent most of his time being a third tier quarterback. And I really didn't think a lot of him per se. So when he blew up with the Raiders, I was almost like, get him drug tested. I didn't believe it. Still don't. But he gave him a blazer and he got in that booth. So yeah. Yo, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. You see, you laugh. Cause see, when I think about him, right, it's kind of like Kirk Cousins. And tell me you don't feel the same way about Kirk Cousins. Now you may have been real young when Gannon blew up, but you know he was kind of like a borderline mediocre. Think about Kirk Cousins. It's kind of the same thing. See, funny how life repeats itself. Be having these discussions and people say, "Oh, it's not like that." Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But some of these cats, you be like, didn't I see that before? I gotta think, where did I see that before? See, and we started, you mentioned some of these cats, and I go, yeah, who he remind me of? Nothing to get you excited about. Rich Gannon had a league MVP. Oh, he was a league MVP. And I was like, okay. So, yeah, because like, it was interesting with the NFL back then. I mean, you had, the Jake De La Homes and, some of these cats that blew up that mm, it's kind of hard to explain to people how this stuff is so bought, you know. So you ain't never lied. True that. True that. This is gonna be only for the live stream. This gonna strictly stay live stream. That'll never be a regular video because only a few of us, what I'm talking about. Most people ain't gonna, yeah, can't really do that. Cause I'd have to the viewership, yeah. Thank you. See in the NBA, that's Jerome James. That's the Jerome James. That's the Calvin Booth. That's one of the reasons why Tim Duncan is one of the greatest, but also softest cats in the sense that when he had them off games, a Calvin Booth, Jerome James had them big games against him. And then some old stupid scout would go, see, you had that one game against Tim Duncan. They forgot Tim Duncan bust that butt the other 3 games. But they used that one game and paid him crazy money. He did, and it was a meaningless game against Detroit too. That's what made it so bad. I remember it was like 444 yards, and then he goes to Seattle, and then yeah, yep, yep, yep. Let's talk about a real bum, Seneca Wallace. Yep, yeah, can't have some out of body game, and then the Brinks truck pulls back. I'm like, come on now, and people used to say, "Oh, you hating?" I said, "No, I ain't." Should they put the third string in? They brought the beer man down, the peanut man. They brought the Iceman down. Oh, they brought the whole, you know, and cats lighting up busters. And you getting up here acting like this cat got game. What up? What's up? What's up? All right, Bryce, 2009. What's happening? What's happening? How you living? How you living? Good to see you. Welcome to the place to be. And if you got any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, you was. I like how you think too, because you be bringing them. I mean, you taking it back. Even though I don't like that Trump 2024 thing, but okay, but anyway, I'm not gonna say that mess though, but right on. Good to see you though. Derek Anderson. Yeah, I forgot all about this turkey. See, but see, you gotta remember who he played for. Cleveland got like 99 of them guys. I hope Deshaun Watson don't be like that. And I hope Joe Flacco don't be like that again. And forget about their quarterback stuff. Kansas City. I'm an AFC dude. Um, there's something special about the defense. Something special about the defense. And it could go either way. But for Frisco to win, Cam Newton is right. Brock Purdy got to play the game of his life. Because I don't think they can rely on their defense and special teams to beat Kansas City. If they play like they played against Green Bay and Detroit, especially against Detroit, they will get blowed out. And Mahomes ain't had that game good. Tommy Maddox. He stunk. Oh, he stunk. They had a lot of them busters. A lot of them. A lot of them. A lot of them. Boy. And is he any better than what they got now? Hmm. Yeah. But I think it could be a good Super Bowl. I mean, they talent wise, they're pretty evenly matched. It's just gonna come down to me. I think it's quarterback play. That's what I think. You know, so Purdy could play the best game he's ever played. They could win. He got to play and go off. He got to be the man. And it comes to Mahomes, you know. So we'll see. That's what the great ones do. That's what the great ones do. Every game ain't you holding up four fingers that you run up the score. You got to learn how to win by different means, and he's proven that. That's why his psychological dominance is so scary because he's getting it. You know, when you win like that, oh yeah. Well, he did it. Most times you got to learn how to win ugly in the Super Bowl. Very few people got the feast in the Super Bowl. The only person I ever seen who feasted and kept it smooth was Joe Montana, for the most part. Once he got past the first one, but he always kept his cool, though. He was so poised, though. But Montana knew how to do it too. It was ugly against the first one against Cincinnati. No, they spanked the Chargers. They wasn't. I mean, you talking about regular season, yeah, but if you're talking about the Super Bowl, that was ugly. That was a pinata. Beat the Chargers up. Young because he was more of a running quarterback. That's why it was ugly because he wasn't a pure passer. And I tell you right now, off the bat, they wanted a white boy who could be mobile, but he wasn't a pure passer. He got better with Frisco. I mean, he became what the league wanted. See, this is the thing about how racist the NFL is. They wanted him to blow up as a running back quarterback, but they wouldn't do that with black quarterbacks. And Steve Young came out. He had wheels, but his arm was kind of spotty. Took a while before he got to groove, even with playing with Jerry Rice. Because I remember there was a couple games years early on, he missed some passes. But we don't talk about how he stunk in Tampa Bay. It took him a while. But being the great grandson of Brigham Young, they gonna make sure he was good. Yeah, he was ran out. But that's different though. Different. But he was good though. And I'll make the case that Doug could probably take Steve Young given the same opportunities. Just saying. I saw what he did with Tampa Bay with Ricky Bell and Jimmy Giles. I remember. And the Salmon brothers. But yeah, you nailed it about these. I mean, there's some. I mean, NFL quarterback scrubs. That's funny. That's even funnier than NBA scrubs, if you must know, especially scrub quarterbacks. Yeah, but I can't say. Breeze was a better quarterback. Breeze was a better quarterback, and I liked ABRA, but that was not that was not something that I could really. You know, I'm not gonna argue against that because Breeze had the skill set. Breeze got better though in New Orleans. He got better. Breeze was kind of like the Steve Nash of quarterbacks to me. He got better over time. Casey Casanella. Oh man, that's hilarious. And that Buster still got some kind of gig. Yeah, y'all Minnesota is good for getting them 1 year wonders, ain't they? They do get 1 year wonders. They do. That was, and I remember it too. Cause that turkey still got a job, and he sucked for like the last 8 years. Yeah, he got killed in a car accident, but yeah, he threw some bad picks too. God, I remember. And he makes Tavares Jackson made Geno Smith look like Warren Moon. Okay. Kid you not. Oh, he used to throw some haymakers and he'd be acting like he's so frustrated because he threw a bad pick. I'm like, come on, man. Who you throwing the ball to? I remember. I remember. I ain't heard his name in a while. One of my buddies' nephew worked out with him in Seattle. So I remember when he had to. But yeah, I remember his career. Yep. That's a good way to end up right where Craig Jennings is now. You see, he's wearing a shirt, blazer on Fox Sports. That's how you end up on Fox Sports prematurely because you get your back knocked out. That's a good way to get a blazer on real quick. Get you you know, get your shirt and a tie, sit up there with the folks and commentate. That's a good way because Christian Ponder will put your butt in retirement home real quick. That's what happened. You know, that's the NFL's joke, though. It's kind of like the bad wrestlers I told you about. Some of these quarterbacks, it's like, are you for real? Well, especially in football, because they throw bad passes. You get lynched and you get lit up over the middle. Play with Zach Wilson all the time. You get your butt lit up. See, baseball is covered and the NBA is a joke. They get garbage time. But NFL, you can't hide it. You cannot hide it. If you suck, you got a sorry quarterback. Oh, he gonna stink you up. He gonna stink you up. Yeah, it was that dude. There's a can't think of his name. Black dude. He's with the Mariners a few years ago, and he went to the A. He used to do all those things with his hand, and can't think of him right now. He'd be all over acting, and next thing you know, he'd be giving up moon shots. But yeah, they are funny. Yup, yup, overacting, overacting. You know, blame it on the lights and the umpire and all that. Like you suck, man. There you go. You read my head. Thank you. Thank you. Because he used to do like, see, and I don't spend my time remembering them busters' names because I remember him, but I remember he used to do all his antics. And then, yup, yeah, Mr. The word. We call it a shag, but they call it the hairdo, the mullet. Yeah. And he like a broke like Billy Ray Cyrus's cousin who been sleeping on the couch for like 20, 30 years, drinking slits and eating corn chips. He sucked. Yeah, I mean some of these cats. See, it was one thing. I remember Al Hrabowski used to do all that and Bruce Sutter and Lee Smith and Goose Gossage. Yeah, I see it so. And he fell off. He, he must have been watching Charlie Sheen in Major League because that's his oh, he'd be throwing to the backstop. He did. I watched some game. He was supposed to be relieving for Kansas City, and the ball went all the way in the back. I'm like, what is he throwing at? But Fernando Rodney was hilarious, though. He'd be like, "Phew," like he's at a discotheque. I said, boy, you're going to get drug tested. Then he throw one of them moon shots over the wall. He's like, looking all like, come on. Until they got Chapman. And after Rivera, it's been tough. They did back in the day, but it's not the same. Sorry. Can't even get excited. But being a Yankee fan now, you hope you get to the playoffs. So Tough. It is tough being a Yankee fan. Yeah, well, the ball hits him in the head like Conseco or Sammy Sosa getting lost. That's funny. But they can be funny if they, like little run ball or they can't, things they do. It's more about the follies they make than actually them in the outfield. But scrub relievers are still funnier though. I'm sorry. Relief pitcher trying to act all hard, staring you down, throwing that pitch and gets tagged. That's hilarious. But the best scrubs are still in the NFL quarterbacks. That's scrub central. That is like the alpha. And when we can talk about scrubs in the NBA, that's garbage time. And in baseball, that's yeah, you know. Mhm. Yep. And when they had Bergmeier, Bergmeier, like they had that turkey pitched back to back in that one World Series. Like that dude had to work like the swing shift, graveyard shift, and the morning shift. Pitch, yeah. So, but yeah, it was some hilarious stuff though. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because one of the most known guys did win a ring as a head coach. His name was Doug Peterson. And I was on Washington State. He went to the high school out there. And all I remember him was being a clipboard holder for your team. He was third string behind Brett Favre. And no, he wasn't no bum. He was a never was. No one talk about no Doug Peterson. So when he found out to be a head coach, I'm like, "Uh, that him? What can he do?" But he turned out to be a pretty good coach of quarterbacks. I got to give it to him. He made the right call on Whites, obviously with Nick Foles, and he brought Jalen in, and then Trevor Lawrence. So he has a way around his thing with quarterbacks because he sure as heck wasn't one. But they did slide though at the end of this year. Though. Sonny Bono, yeah, that's why I call him Sonny Fono. Bono could have been YouTube, could have been, yeah, Sonny Bono, yeah. And they gave him chances too. They tried. They tried. They tried. They tried. Chris Sims was a never was Phil Sims' son. That's why he got that blazer now with Mike Farello. You have to go back to Bama to see his 2-minute highlight film. After Mark Sanchez had the butt fumble, he became a scrub. I've never seen a fumble just take your whole manhood away, but it did. Oh, the mighty Quinn. And how this turkey gets to be an analyst talking about football again. He sucked. And unless you go to Notre Dame, he came to the NFL. He was a bust. He was third tier off the bat. I mean, he was in Johnny Manzielville, the mighty Quinn. I remember how they slurped him up. Yeah. Been some hilarious ones at quarterback. He was good. He just, like I said, between the way Shanahan handled him, he was legit. I mean, when he was in college, I mean, I remember He had skill set, and he should have been in a discussion for the last decade as one of the best 10 or so best quarterbacks because he had the skills. I ain't gonna take nothing away from him on that. So I lived in Washington State, and Crying Leaf, he looked like a prototype quarterback because he was built like Bledsoe, big boy. Came out of Washington State. They like them big giraffe white boys, But he came in and felt he sucked and cried and moaned and all that other stuff. Andre Ware was okay. He did. He sat there and cried and moaned. Talking about y'all don't know about football. Y'all don't know this. Remember Jerry Jones tried to give him a shot. He got in trouble too. But that kind of faded. So yeah. No, you remember these cats. I remember I got stories on a lot of these cats when you mention them. Because I remember how big they were, especially in college. Yeah. Had the edge over Brady, but that's it. You see, it's a classic example. It's kind of like Stanley Roberts and Shaq. Now, Stanley Roberts became an NBA boom, and Shaq became a made man. But if you saw them in college, you'd have thought not necessarily the opposite, but they would have both been great. But college was different, and Hanson was one of those examples. You know, but you never know how it's going to turn out. Yeah, one of those rare exceptions, white boy, but didn't make no difference though. Didn't make no difference. Didn't make a break him. So no, that's a different situation. I mean, again, I was a youngster, especially with Turner Greer and Tommy Frazier. I'm balling, you know, black quarterback. Turner Gill got robbed more than anything because he could actually throw that thing. He could sling that thing. Frazier was more of a slasher. Actually, Tommy Frazier was like a precursor to Lamar in some ways. See, Bill Polian said that racist mess 35, 40 years ago, he got away with it. He still gets away with it because ain't no one knocked no sense into that turkey to be saying that. But Turner Gill was just, he could throw that thing, but wrong complexion. All them cats is never was because they never was. Yeah, they scrubs, but they never was. Oh, Matt Cassaroni, no one remembers nothing. Had a couple out of bodies. Please don't mention PJ Lossman. He had no business even being on the football field. Maybe in the stands throwing a SpongeBob toy or something, but not quarterbacking. He sucked. And so NEJ Manuel, yeah, these cats with J in their name for initials, unless you OJ, you don't even need to be on no football field. PJ, EJ, it's time for y'all to exit out of stage door and parlay somewhere else. They suck. They were horrible, hot garbage, all three of them. But they shoot. The, PJ and EJ made Mad Castle look like the second coming of Brady, though. I'd say more like solid because to have moments, he wasn't going to be great. See, to be a bum, I think he could have had potential to be great. I didn't think he had potential to be great. Just thought he was okay. He was just okay. Just okay. Just okay. Could have been good had we had some consistency. We didn't, but just okay. But He's 5 times better than PJ Lossman, AJ Manuel. You see what I had to go through with Bills quarterbacks? They had some real busters till we got Flutie at that particular time. After Jim Kelly, it was some scary stuff. Like Brad Van Pelt, he was whack. That turkey was a never was. He was a milk carton ready to happen. Oh, Nathan Peterman, I don't even know how he got allowed on the football field. And he went to the Raiders because I think Chucky liked him and he threw picks left and right. I'm like, what are you seeing this Buster? But has he got video on y'all or something in some compromising position? Because how is he a quarterback? So that's what threw me for a loop. He'll give him a look as an assistant. He won't give him a look as a quarterback. They're never going to let Cap touch the field again as a quarterback. Probably as an assistant coordinator, but not as a quarterback. I mean, it's been 7 freaking years. They're not going to do it. He'd want to do it, but I don't think he would do it. Yeah, but if I'm Dallas, I want something. And I don't know what Pittsburgh got to give up that you want. They got a nice little running. I like Najee. Najee, the running back, actually would be an improvement over Tony Pollard. But I don't think you make that deal, though. But Najee would be an improvement. But see, Dak needs the best kind of running back he could get. He needs a stretch receiver. So yeah. Not saying it wouldn't work. He should be. I don't know if two teams are going to really mess with him. I mean, see, Sean Payton carries weight as offensive minded coach. So Russell getting broke down with him is not going to be a good look. Them people ain't going to take chances. But where would he be a backup at? I don't know. I don't know if his ego could take it. I don't know. Depends on what team we're talking about. You know, he's long in the tooth now. So. Well, it's okay. They don't have to show him. All he has to do is win. They always do. But again, it's because of the controversy too at the stage. They don't want to bring too much attention to it because they can't help themselves. So they have to make sure that they don't There's a certain protocol. Believe me, they'd like to, and they don't want to be called out being insensitive or racist. So it is Black History Month. So mhm. I'm sure Patrick is pretty much happy with it not getting too much attention. It's pretty heavy. Say something quick. I can understand them not doing it though. I can understand why they don't. Okay. This thing was acting kind of funny. I hadn't even heard anything about the fire alarm prank. I Yeah, somebody did. Somebody did that on purpose too. Hmm. Trick them into what? They had a chance 4 years ago and they didn't.
Hey, X-World. Hospice? Hospice? You talking about hospice? No, I'm not any hospice. I don't know who put that out there, but whoever put that out there, I guess is like the Donald say, can't trust the media. In any event, I'm hosting a ton of friends for the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas. All is well. You know? So, hey, guys, take care. Have a good Super Bowl weekend. Hey, X-World. Hospice? Hospice? You talking about hospice?
I told you his ex is hilarious. I follow him on X. He be cracking me up. His takes be on, and his memory is what's gonna blow you away. Because if you go on X and you type in OJ Simpson, the real OJ 32, you'd be like, this can't be breaking. Because he broke down that Detroit Lions Frisco thing. He said that was the first game he went to, and he talked about the come from behind win by Detroit. It was spooky because that's what Frisco did, 24-7. You'll be surprised. He throws some gems over there. He got some gems for you. So yeah, his mind is sharp. I mean, his details are scary. I remember like said sometimes I watch him and I'm like, wow, he'll be going back in time and telling you plays. It's amazing. But let me ask this about how you gonna trick a guy that's back in the Super Bowl again? I mean, this guy has camped out. Yeah, just didn't work on the football field. That's the difference, though. He ain't gonna be remembered like OJ as a football player. He made too many bad turnovers. But Mahomes, I don't know how you do this fourth Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't know. Because, you know, the 49ers don't fake nobody, okay? They just got lucky that Dan Campbell was a meathead and got greedy against their butt. Should have been packed, bag stacked. That's all I gotta say about that.
No, I'm not in.
Yeah, they are. I think Andy Reid does. I think those commercials with homes are big. He actually does. Um, that's a good question. Hmm. People tolerated Belichick's curmudgeon ways because he won, but who does? That's a good question. I think Andy Reid. I think Mike Tomlin could. I think he could. Yeah. Excuse me. There ain't too many coaches. Chucky Gruden actually had it and blew it. Only as much as Lamar is successful though, but I don't think people sweat him now. I think Jim's got more crossover potential, if you want my honest opinion. John's a workmanlike coach, lunch pail. I think Jim though. Jim is very polarizing. If the Lions get to a Super Bowl, yes. But if he makes meathead moves like that, no. He pulls that kind of mess again, no. He got a chance. Trying to think. Excuse me. Oh, except for Deshaun Watson. Can't say that no more. He had a chance with it. It's over. Um, Jordan Fields has a chance, but he's gonna have to go somewhere else to really get that thing to fully reach full zenith. No one's talking about Jameson Winston, so no, no, no for Jameson. For Lamar's backup. I do like him though. Yeah, over time, Houston has to actually be a threat though. Got a chance. But they hate on Jalen Hurt. They kind of half and half with him. So next year's going to make a break with him. They they it's a thin line with Kyler Murray right now. So you may have to kind of like check that one. Yeah, he's running himself almost out. So it's bum behavior. Because that game against Philly this year, but he came back. It's like, see, if you play like that more often, we wouldn't be in this situation. He don't play like that because he plays for Dallas, not because of his skills. He's a very pedestrian cat most of the time. So, but who he play with? So because begrudgingly, not because he generally got it, because he was properly his numbers and what he did, but it was kind of begrudgingly. I like his mind, but he, like I said before, they didn't make a point of trying to right or wrong with him per se. He earned his crossover, but it was begrudging. I'd say the 80s and the 90s. I wouldn't say so much the 70s. The 70s was considered too Negroid. They didn't like having a whole lot of. If you talking about crossover for black players, no. Because really it wasn't until Dr. J and the ABA blew up and then they merged with the NBA that that's when that thing took off. But they still on tape delay. So Magic Bird, then you got to get the Jordan. Not respected in the same amount though. If you watched any of my videos where I talked about Chamberlain, I said if he was white, he'd be bigger than Babe Ruth. He's not. And they don't respect a big man like they do a guard. That's why I did my videos about ranking all the black American centers. I said Wilt, Russell, Shaq, Kareem, and you can throw Moses five. I says I don't want to rank them no more because the discrimination that they face, black male centers are always getting dissed, and they want to make the bigger man smaller man bigger. It's just unfair. No, he Wilt had crossover, but because of his size and his agility, He didn't have Michael Jordan's crossover. No. Michael Jordan ate off of O.J. Simpson's plate. That was crossover. I'm talking about where they put you in all the places. It wasn't like there was no center that had hit like Shaq as far as that crossover. Kareem did movies and worked with Bruce Lee. They none of them Russell neither. Shaq had the most crossover for a big man. No, Jordan had some crossover that you got to put that almost with Michael Jackson level, the O.J. level, Tiger Woods level. Will ain't in, Will as a basketball player belong in that argument? Yes, but as a crossover appeal, no. Shaq was the first big to come along and make it for black born American ones to blow up as a center like that. They hated Kareem, they hated Russell, and Wilt was a freak to them. Just saying. Yeah, Kareem's hate on Wilt because they were too much alike alphas, and they was one and up each other. 'Cause, yeah, he was big. He was marketed as Jordan Pippen type. He was from Duke. He was pampered, bumpy, and he just got hurt. Had some numbers. Had crazy All Star game appeal. I remember that. So 'cause that was a long time ago though. And when he got hurt, he was boring, and he also he just so mundane. He a country and kind of slow, and you know he was strictly basketball respected. Yeah, he started to pick up some of it, but then he went to the Madonna Charm School in San Antonio, and he ran wild, and of course you know the rest. It was glimpses of in Detroit, but it wasn't nothing like with the Spurs and the Bulls. Yeah, well, I mean, just you know, was a special space to me, and he benefited. But the '80s, '90s, you know, if you really want to talk about more crossover, I'd tell you that it started with the mid to late '80s, but the '90s it became the norm. So what you've seen since then, where you got more other guys getting that love, but it was after the bigger guys that got that love. So that's what it was like. He did because he was slick and slickster. He was the best of both worlds, New York and LA. Had that Wall Street vibe, but had that LA Shark Street, but had that East Coast pizza at 3 in the morning. Slice. Just cold. He did. They want to, because the problem is that sometimes you win so much that people tend to get, and it gets mundane. Guys get older and they're not trying to do the same old thing. And then they end up getting tired. Sometimes you get fatigued out because you got to go through such a grind. And since they spent a whole decade in the finals, camped out in June, it did wear itself out and they got worn out. He's a very demanding coach. He was wearing on Magic's nerves too. But, that was, again, they were. Except he didn't have the superstar to lead the team. And that's the difference. So, what would you rather have? More of your style and personality or the superstar that could lead you to a championship? Because Patrick Ewing wasn't that dude, and Magic was. Just saying. That's where they lost to the Bulls. You give them Magic Johnson against them, they beat the Bulls. Ewing fresh, stars coming up. Derek Harp, all that, you mix them up. Anthony Mason, Oakley. Magic Johnson mixes them up. They beat them. So, yeah. This thing got to get. Well, you mentioned the Knicks, and I'm just saying that he didn't have the guy, and that was a big miss there because he needed the guard play. I mean, he had guys that played hard, but they weren't those dudes. So I never looked at Zoe as a superstar, but I liked him though. He was tough and he fit Riley. So they don't need a guard now. They need a guy that can create. They don't have a scoring guy. That's what they need. Anybody that can create points for them is like a big help wanted sign. That's what's hurting them. And when I mentioned De'Aaron Fox, but that's because he can score points, not just a guard that can just facilitate. They need scoring. They need a guy that can get buckets. Then Butler can thrive. Then Bam can thrive, and then you can mess with either Hero or Robinson. But they need a guy who can create points, and that's the problem. They're a pointless team. I don't think they dodged the bullet because I don't think they really want him. I think Riley came to his senses that I don't need a guy that's just shooting on the logo. I need you to get in the box. I need you to play some defense. I need you to make some assists. I need you to get some rebounds. I need some hustle points. He was not Miami Heat culture ball. He would have only been Miami Heat culture ball if you had another alpha there that can match him and cover his tracks. They don't. Nobody wants to play with a guy that's playing 21 by himself and shooting bombs, and you got to run all the way out to the parking lot to get him. So, yeah, that's what I used to say about Russell Westbrook, because he'd be up there stat padding, getting guys out the way, getting his own rebounds, get out the way, because he need a triple double. They do. Yeah, you can play 21 by yourself. Hmm. I know it sounds funny the way I said that. See, like I told you, when you come live, I'll say the real stuff. I wouldn't put this on regular videos because people might go over their head and they may like I'm making, but it's true. Shoot, cats up there trying to get his own self-inflicted assist, not just a Ricky Davis thing. Cats up there trying to throw the ball themselves, fumbling with the ball. I'm like, yeah. But see, when you see guys in the NBA doing that mess, and that's why they never be on winning teams, always tricking themselves off. But that's the problem with Dame. When you don't play no defense, it's always going to be frowned upon. Dame don't play no defense. He don't throw his hands up. You know. Golden State got away with it because at the time they could outrun you. The conditioning is better now, man. It's just the conditioning. They used to run teams out. I kid you not, when LeBron had to go against them, his hair was gone. He had to go find some spray to get his back. Yeah, but they didn't win nothing because other teams could move the rock. You asked me the difference between the Nuggets in the '80s and the Warriors was the Steph Curry thing, but it was because you were running bigs. Everybody was playing in unison. Steph's thing was something completely different because he was just jacking the rock up and turn back on offense, or and you had and they dictated the tempo. Teams could match you back then. He had no hairline when he had to go against the Warriors because they ran his hair off. Pimp to the back was gone. Golden State wore you out. So most of these don't want to play no defense, but if you're gonna play the scoring format, they're gonna have teams that match up with you. And I told you, Isaiah and them matched up with Denver in '84. Remember, Isaiah Thomas was the guy on the other side against the Nuggets then. Him and Kelly Tripucka. Yeah, because he was trying to quicken the team and they could do it. Because if he throws a nice whip pass, you know, they play high basketball though. He was. He run that coast to coast, throw that flip behind his back or between the leg and throw it off, left, look you off. Yeah, he was something else with it. It was must see basketball. That's back when you got a nickname and you earned it. He was magic. He did. He did. And I loved him as a player. He was great. don't see no more questions. I think I'm about to call it a night. Definitely coming back tomorrow. Okay, let me address. Yeah, if you got any more, that's cool. Yes and no, because Little Penny was bigger than Main Penny. It was a No Diggity video. White Chocolate for a moment, but then he self destruct. He could have been bigger. He self destruct. He self destruct, and he didn't really relish his game. He got lucky that he brought him in later, but he had a chance to be bigger. And I told you about Penny. He did, but then he was again the puppet when they did the No Diggity video. More people was checking that out, so I remember that. And as big as Little Penny was, it was bigger than him. Mhm. Okay, this time check it real quick. Think, yeah, we'll definitely come back tomorrow. Enjoy it tonight. It was great to see a lot of faces. Great to see T questions were hilarious. We had some funny times about scrubs, especially talking about it in terms of quarterbacks. That was hilarious. You definitely hit the nail on the head. And football and everything. So it was hilarious tonight. We did different with the show tonight. Tonight went into a different direction. So that's all good. That's all good. We tapped into music, sports, did the whole thing. So much appreciated. Thanks, Malcolm. People that stopped through, clarified an OJ story too. So that doesn't happen every day, but that was cool too. So anyway, call it a night. Peace out. Thanks for everything. Appreciate everybody coming through. Stay safe, stay warm, be cool, be careful. Until next time we catch you. And keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. I'm out.